You've been lied to your whole life. Not by the government, not by the media, by yourself. Here's the thing nobody actually says out loud. The loudest person in the room is usually the most scared. Think about that for a second. You know that guy? Every office has one. Always talking about his car, his bonus, his grind. He's the first one to tell you what he makes. First one to flex the vacation photos. First one to make sure you know he's doing well. You ever wonder why? Because people who are actually doing well don't need you to know. That's the part that messes with your head when you really sit with it. The rich kid who shows up in sweatpants and worn-out sneakers. No watch, no logo, nothing to prove. He walks in like he owns the place. Because, honestly, he kinda does. And you're standing there in your best outfit, freshly pressed, hoping someone notices. The difference isn't the clothes. It's what's happening inside. He already knows what he has. You're still trying to convince other people you have something. Look, nobody's born knowing this. We're wired to perform, to signal, to compete. It's animal behavior dressed up in Instagram filters. But yeah, here's the uncomfortable part. Every time you post that screenshot, every time you name drop, every time you make sure people know, you're broadcasting your own insecurity on full volume, and people can hear it. They just don't tell you. The loudest flex in the room is silence. But nobody figures that out until they have already embarrassed themselves 100 times. Most people spend their entire lives performing for an audience that isn't watching. And the ones who are watching, they're not impressed. They're just keeping score to use it later. This video isn't going to make you feel better. Fair warning, but if something in your gut is already nodding along, then you already know something's off. You've probably known for a while. There's a term in Chinese philosophy, still water runs deep. Sounds poetic, but it's actually just an observation about power. The people who've truly built something real, they stopped caring about your opinion a long time ago. Not because they're arrogant, because they're full. There's nothing you could give them that they don't already have on the inside. And you can feel it when you're around someone like that. It's unsettling. Actually, they're not trying to win the conversation. They're barely even in it. Now think about the last time you really wanted someone to know something about you. Your salary, your new place, a deal you closed. Whatever it was, why did you need them to know? Sit with that. Don't answer fast, because the honest answer is uncomfortable. You needed it because some part of you still isn't sure. Sure that you're enough, sure that it's real, sure that it counts for something. So you outsource the validation. You let other people's reactions tell you how to feel about your own life. That's the trap, and almost everyone is in it. Here's a story that's been around for centuries and still cuts clean. A monkey, showing off in front of a king and his court, jumping, performing, making sure everyone saw how quick he was. The king watched for a moment, then had him shot. Not because the monkey was weak, because the monkey couldn't stop performing long enough to notice the danger. His talent was real. His ego got him killed. Your skill isn't the problem. Your need to make sure everyone knows about it is... Think about that in a modern context. The guy in the meeting who has to be the smartest one in the room always has the answer before anyone finishes the question. Always makes sure the boss clocks it. He's good. Genuinely? But he creates enemies faster than he creates allies. One day, someone with less talent but more patience just waits him out, and he never sees it coming. That's not a hypothetical. You've watched that happen. Maybe to someone else, maybe to yourself. Cao Cao and the cake. Old story. 3rd century China. A general sends a gift to his commander, a box of sweets. The commander writes 3 characters on it and walks away. Doesn't explain anything. Everyone stands around confused. One guy reads it immediately, grabs the cake, starts eating, shares it around. When the commander comes back, the guy explains his interpretation. Commander laughs, agrees, but quietly. He marks that man, not for being wrong, for being so desperate to show he was right. That's the messed up part about intelligence. It can protect you or destroy you depending on whether you can keep your mouth shut. Real intelligence knows when to disappear. The people who make it long-term in any room, they're usually not the most obvious ones. They're the ones that you forgot were even there, until suddenly they're running everything. You've been trained your whole life to raise your hand, get called on, stand out, get the gold star. Nobody told you that at a certain level. The ones who win are the ones who stop needing the star. Showing everyone how smart you are is just insecurity wearing a better outfit. And here's the thing about comparison, it never ends. You get the car, someone has a better one. You get the house, someone has a bigger one. You post the win, someone's already posting a bigger win. The game is designed so you never catch up, because catching up was never the point. The point was to keep you running, distracted, performing, exhausted, never stopping long enough to ask why you're running in the first place. Let's stop being polite about this. You already know what you're doing. You're not confused. You're avoiding. Every time you feel that urge to post something, to mention something, to casually drop something into conversation, that's not confidence. That's a wound looking for a bandage. And the bandage never works. The likes fade in 4 hours. The compliment disappears by morning. You wake up the next day needing another hit. That's not living. That's just a slower version of something you judge someone else for. Here's what nobody maps out for you. There's a specific moment in a person's life when things actually start working. Not when they get smarter. Not when they get luckier. When they stop needing to be seen, that's it. That's the whole unlock. And it sounds simple. It's not, because the need to be seen is primal. It's older than language. You were a kid once, doing something, looking around to see if anyone noticed. That wiring doesn't just disappear. You carry it into the office, into relationships, into every room you've ever walked into. The difference between the person who breaks through and the person who doesn't is whether they ever got honest enough to see that wiring for what it is. Most people don't. Most people die still performing for people who weren't even paying attention. Most people spend their whole life auditioning for an audience that already left the building. Think about the last time you borrowed money. Not because you had to, because you wanted to look like you didn't have to. The watch, the trip, the dinner you couldn't afford but couldn't let people know you couldn't afford. That's not ambition. That's self-destruction wearing a nice face. And the worst part, the people you were performing for, they were too busy performing for someone else to even notice. Everyone's broke trying to impress everyone else who's broke. And the people at the top are watching all of it. Quietly, patiently, not participating. Lao Tzu had this concept. Blend your light into the dust around you. Don't dim yourself. That's not what it means. It means stop radiating outward for other people's benefit. Keep the light. Direct it inward. Let it do actual work instead of just making you visible. Visibility is not power. Visibility is a target. The tree that grows tallest gets hit first by wind. The bank that sticks out gets robbed first. The person in the room who needs everyone to know they're smart gets taken apart the moment someone patient enough decides it's time. You think you're building a reputation. Sometimes you're just building a list of people who resent you and are waiting. Every time you feel the urge to prove yourself, ask who you're really proving it to, then ask why that person's opinion has this much real estate in your head. Here's the internal war nobody talks about. You do something good, real, it works. First thought, who can I tell? That split second right there, that's the battlefield. Not the market, not the competition. Right there, inside your own skull. Do you post it or do you protect it? Do you feed your ego or feed your momentum? Most people choose the ego every single time, and then wonder why nothing compounds. Because you keep spending the energy on the performance instead of the next move. Zhuangzi called it the war of the mind. Instinct versus logic. Feeling versus thinking. We dress it up in modern language. Call it impulse control. Emotional regulation. Whatever. It's the same fight it's always been, and you're in it every day whether you realize it or not. Every single day. The question isn't whether you'll face it. The question is how many times you're going to lose before you start paying attention. So here's where we land. Not inspiration. Don't worry. I'm not about to tell you to believe in yourself. Here's just what's true. The version of you that's constantly performing is exhausting everyone around you, including yourself, especially yourself. You already feel it. That low-grade tired that doesn't go away after sleep. That's not work fatigue. That's the cost of maintaining a version of yourself that isn't real. It compounds every day. Like debt you keep rolling over and pretending isn't there. At some point the bill comes. Not dramatically. Not like a movie. Just quietly. One morning you look around and realize nothing you built actually belongs to you. The image, the reputation, the carefully managed perception, none of it is yours. You built it for them, and they weren't even watching. The most expensive thing you'll ever buy is other people's approval. And it has a 0% return rate. Here's the cold version of hope. The only kind worth anything. The moment you genuinely stop caring what people think, something shifts. Not because the universe rewards you. Not because good things start happening. Because you stop bleeding energy into a void. That energy goes somewhere else. Into actual work. Actual decisions. The kind that build something real instead of something visible. The people who figured this out usually don't know their names. They're not on your feed. They're not in your comments. They're somewhere quiet. Doing something that compounds. Completely unbothered by whether you know about it. That used to sound sad to me. Now it just sounds like winning. Think about what you could build. If you redirected every ounce of energy you spend on perception management, not into positivity, not into hustle culture nonsense, just into the actual thing, the work, the skill, the slow, boring, invisible accumulation. Nobody claps for that? That's kind of the point. 3 years of keeping your head down, not explaining yourself, not posting the wins, not defending yourself to people who don't matter. What does that version of you look like? You probably can't picture it. because that version doesn't perform. And you've been performing so long you forgot. There's another option. The monkey in that old story wasn't stupid. He was just too busy showing off to notice the arrow. You're not stupid either. But you've got arrows coming from directions you're not looking because you're too focused on the audience. Silence isn't weakness. It's just power that hasn't announced itself yet. So the real question isn't how to be more confident. It's not how to care less what people think. Those are just more performances with better branding. The real question is simpler and harder. What are you actually building when nobody's watching? Not what you're posting. Not what you're saying. What are you actually doing in the dark? Because that's the only thing that's real. Everything else is just noise you're making to drown out the sound of your own doubt. And the doubt doesn't go away because people clap for you. It goes away when you've built something real enough that you don't need the clap anymore. That's it. That's the whole thing. No applause. No share this with someone who needs it. Just go do the work nobody sees. And stop waiting for someone to notice.